I was just talking to somebody and they were telling me that people were pointing out that whenever she talks, her eyes get really big, or when she gets excited. I'm not sure which one it was, but you gotta talk with your face a little bit. You know, use your eyeballs. My eyeballs are looking pretty good too. They're nice and white. Well, the inside of that one got lots of red lines, but the tops look pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyways, I'm doing the weekly Europe time zone live stream, and I think it's all working. I just realized that my camera, or I don't have a camera that I can use for the normal stream, so that's why I'm using my laptop right now. So the quality might not be as good, video quality might not be as good, but there's something. Oh, so I'm not going to be doing 2 live streams on Tuesdays anymore. I'm going to move the US time zone live stream to Thursday. So I will do it every Tuesday at 1 or 2. I guess today's 2 o'clock. And then on Thursdays, I'll do it at 7 or 8 p.m. Probably 8 p.m. this week, but 7 p.m. normally. If you guys are there, let me know so that I'm not just talking to myself. Let me make sure that it's actually working. Because I don't see any chat. There it goes. Yes. Okay. All right. Welcome, Sanwar, Feathered Breakfast King, and Serena. So yeah, the road trip was amazing. You know, it's kind of funny because usually when I get back home from a trip, what'll happen is, so usually the first person I see is my mother. And so I'll tell her some about the trip, but I can't remember all of it. And gradually, as time goes on, I'll pull out little tidbits here and tidbits there. And this time is no exception because I got back and you just spend that much time with people and you know their idiosyncrasies so well, and you just like want to murder them after a while. So it was really great when we got back and we got to split our separate ways. Like I already don't feel any hatred for them anymore. But at the end it was like, oh my God, dude, we got to get out of there. After the trip, health-wise, oh man, lots of good questions. It wasn't hatred. It was just like, oh my God, dude, I cannot see you guys for a little while. We actually were like, man, we shouldn't work on any Adventure Archive stuff for like a week, but we already started working on it again. It's no problem. How do I feel after the trip health-wise? I actually feel amazingly good considering the fact that we were just sitting in a car the whole time and eating way too much food for the amount of activity we were doing. And I think part of that is because as soon as I got back, I had all that energy just waiting to be released. So like I got back and I was exercising, felt great. Got back to my routine of going to sleep early, eating at like nice set times and not eating too much, and it's great. Best or worst memory? Actually, right now, the best, oh man, there's so many good ones. 2 of them that come to mind is Angel's Landing, which was in Zion National Park. It's this look like this trail that you go up on like the mountain is literally like this. So you're like climbing on top of like this tiny little, very tiny, like narrow thing, and there's chains. That was really cool. Me and Thomas did that. When we were in Zion, we split up, and Brian and Andrew did the Narrows. Me and Thomas did the Angel's Landing. Really cool. And I realized that I actually kind of like climbing mountains now. I never thought that would be the case, but after doing Mount Whitney and then doing Zion, it's like, man, you know, well, Zion wasn't really a mountain. It was like, it was paved most of the way. And then the final stretch, you have to go on the chains. But getting up to those high points is really fun, really satisfying, especially we weren't filming it in a normal Adventure Archives manner where, you know, you set up a tripod, you go back and get it. It was like very run and gun handheld stuff. So that was great. And then the other best memory that I have in mind is when we were in New Orleans and we were on the Mississippi River. We were on the edge of the Mississippi River. And unfortunately, Thomas and Brian missed it. It's kind of hard to explain. Well, I guess it's not that hard to explain, but I wasn't going to explain it, but Brian had to go to the bathroom. Then he was locked out of the place that we were staying at. So Thomas had to go give him the keys. And it wasn't that far away, but they didn't know that something really cool was about to happen. This barge came by. And as the barge was coming by, a steamboat came by. And it was like, this is the steamboat's like, steam engine. I don't even know if it's a steamboat, you know, just like Steamboat Willie, that type of ship. And then like you could see the steamboat, like the engine up above the barge. And at first I thought it was like a factory in the distance that I hadn't noticed. And it turns out it was like the steamboat coming around, and then it docked like right where we were standing at because it was dropping off somebody who was sick. That was really cool. And like the sun was setting. Oh man, I've got pictures and video, of course. You'll see that at some point. Okay, make sure everything's working. Okay, cool. Best or worst meal? The best meal was probably in, what's that place called at Mount Whitney? Lone Pine, at the foot of Mount Whitney. The little town there is called Lone Pine. It's a place called Merry-Go-Round, which is a Chinese restaurant. Last time we were there, we actually thought about going there, but I don't know why we didn't. This time we went to the little outfitter store. The same guy who was working there last time we went to Mount Whitney was still working there this summer. So he told us, you got to go to Merry-Go-Round. They're awesome. We went there, and it was literally like one of my aunts was cooking for us. Like she was just some woman from Taiwan, and she came out and was like talking to us, and it literally reminded me of one of my aunts. She's no longer alive, but I remember it just like her. It was really cool. Worst meal, it was a good meal, but the most underwhelming meal when we were staying at the plantation. I don't know how much of you guys know what we did, especially if you tuned into the Patreon live stream last night with Brian and Andrew. I don't know if they explained what all we did, but we went to a plantation at one point and stayed there. We ordered a dinner ahead of time, and they bring it to your little cottage or whatever. And it just turned out to be like a bunch of little like containers that you had to microwave yourself. It was the most underwhelming thing I've ever seen in my life, especially when you factor in how expensive it was. It was like $15. Oh my God, it was terrible. But once we actually heated the food up and ate it, it was quite good. It started out really bad, but then it got okay. But that was probably the worst that I can remember. Okay, let me make sure. Yes, you can still watch the live stream if you're not in Europe. Okay, so I guess I'll just go in order. I just want to make sure everything was still working. Do you think you can keep up with 2 live streams for a week for a while? Yes, I was doing Twitch streaming every day for like 2 weeks before I left. Doing 2 live streams a week is no problem as long as I stick to a schedule. I think, just in general, like me being able to do things, as long as I schedule things ahead of time and I like adjust the schedule as I go to make sure that I'm not burning myself out, it's been working amazingly well. Because just where I just do kind of like willy-nilly whatever, like when we were editing Adventure Archives episodes, when I say when we were doing that, I just mean like every single time we've done it, where we'll edit for like 12 hours in a day. It's just too much, and I like burn myself out. It's just like the road trip, actually. I love being around people, but when you're around people like 24 hours a day and you're working and you don't have any time to like decompress in your own space on your own time, that's when you just get burned out. And you're like, God, I just need like my own compartment where I don't have to talk to anybody, see anybody. But yeah, going to another question, somebody said, how long did it take after the trip that you could feel like you could talk to the guys again? It only take a day or two, but we all needed to go back to our own homes, be able to shower, eat our own foods on our own time. And now I'm perfectly happy to talk to any of them. What was I saying though? Yeah, it was just like the road trip though, because we would edit those episodes and it wasn't so much the people that I was tired of, it's writing music and editing that I would get super tired of. I can't edit and write music that much. But taking a break and doing it more manageably, it's been going fantastic. Angel's Landing is the best trail at Zion. Narrows is a close second. So it was funny because me and Thomas were like, man, they're going to be disappointed that they missed out on Angel's Landing because this was amazing. So much fun. We got up there. We were literally the second to the last people up there. So we were actually up there by ourselves for like 5 or 10 minutes before the final group finally came up. But so cool. And like Zion, it looks like a desert Yosemite. It's really cool. It's red. It's great. The crowd, somebody said something about crowds somewhere in there. Trails we hiked says, to be honest, the 45-minute lines to start the day weren't too exciting for us, although we were at the end of our trip. Gorgeous park though. So it was crowded, but I think it wasn't too crowded yet because it was still early in the season. I can imagine though that at the height of it, it's probably terrible, dude. Like especially like the Angel's Landing, it's paved all the way up until you get to the chains portion, and the chains portion is not that hard. So I imagine a lot of people were going on it too. We were at the end of the day in a kind of not semi off season, and it was still really crowded. So I can imagine it gets just like Yosemite. When we went to Vernal Falls in Yosemite, how many summers ago was that? 3 summers ago? It was, yeah. Wow, I didn't realize it was that long ago. But when we went there, it was so crowded that it was just like obnoxious. And there's people like playing in their little boom boxes, and there's so many people. It's just like I think Andrew mentioned it. I hadn't heard it before, but he's talking about people are talking about we're loving our national parks to death. Yosemite is being loved to death, son. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, so when we got back from Angel's Landing, me and Thomas were like, man, they're going to be sad that they missed out on it. And then we finally met up with them. They came on the bus right after us. It was amazing how accurately we timed it. They were like, we were looking at them, we were like, it looks like your feet are wet. And they go, oh, does it now? And it turns out that the Narrows is just walking through a cold river or like cold stream. And like other people had these like full length waterproof, I guess you guys will see it in the next episode, but when we went to a place called Seneca Creek, there was water like that. We had 2 pairs of those boots. If we didn't have those, we wouldn't have been able to hike on that trail. And it was kind of like the same thing, only this time it was in the summer, so they could just do it and get their feet wet anyway. But they said they still had a good time, but it was funny because we had no idea that what they were in for. Okay. Maybe Mount Fuji next. So Mount Fuji, the reason we didn't climb it last time, we were actually planning on doing that, is because Michael and Rob keep telling us that all it is basically dirt, most of them. Maybe there's other trails you can go on. I didn't investigate it myself. I just went off of what they told me, but they said it's actually not that boring, and it's much more fun to be away from Mount Fuji so that you can see it in the distance, which, considering how Mount Kumatori came out, I'm totally in agreement with them, and I think they made the right choice. We made the right choice, so to speak. But yeah, what were my thoughts coming into Zion? I thought it was awesome. Like for us, it was really good. I mean, I could easily see how it could be too crowded, but it's really convenient. And the shuttle system is nice because you can park outside of the park and you just go in, they shuttle you to each locations and you can go hike. It's pretty cool, actually. And then the campsite was really nice. And the fact that there's a town like literally just right next to it, you don't have to worry about food. Very convenient. I would say it would be really great for people who just want that quintessential family, big national park experience and don't mind crowds. That's good. But if you mind crowds at all, then it's probably not very good, right? I'm imagining. Are you uploading 1 day of the road trip per day? Yeah, I'm probably going to just keep doing 1 per day because I'm not vlogging right now, so I'll eventually get caught up. The thing is, though, is that I was vlogging with just my phone, and as the time wore on, I got more and more tired, so I was focusing on just filming for Adventure Archives, and by the end of the trip, I wasn't vlogging at all. So you're probably going to have to wait to see the end of the trip until we're ready to actually release the videos. Right now, it's looking like we're going to do 3 videos from the road trip, 1 for like each region, like Southwest, South, and then California, Southwest, South. I don't know. It seems like it'll fit nicely into 3 episodes. So by the end of the vlogs, like the latter half of the road trip, it's going to be probably a mashup where I say, on this day we did this, I show you the 1 clip that I filmed that day. And then I say, and then the next day we did this, and I show you the 1 clip we filmed that day. I might put in some of the footage from the Adventure Archive stuff that we actually shot with a good camera, but we shall see. Also, welcome everybody who is just joining. And thank you for the welcome backs, everyone. Okay. Favorite city visited on the road trip, and which one would you live in if you had to? Well, my favorite experience of the different cities was actually New Mexico because we went to one of our viewers, James Blackburn, awesome dude, and his wife. That was his wife, right? Yeah. They took us around to like the old town. It looks just like Jackson Hole. Like if you've ever been to Jackson Hole, you drive in, and then on the right side there's a bar. The center of the town there's like a little town square and like this little bone structure or whatever. It's set up exactly the same way with the same sort of shops on the outside and everything. They took us all around there. We saw the lady who made the candy from Breaking Bad, the blue candy. Well, in the show, it was meth. But in real life, it's just candy. But it was really cool. We went over there, went over here. Brian bought a new guitar. We went to this guitar shop. He was playing like this $1,000 guitar that sounded beautiful. Really cool. We went to like this little small church. That was my favorite city experience as far as all the places we went to. But as far as favorite city and city I might actually live in was Austin. Austin, I had no idea that it was so green for one thing. And for another thing, just was beautiful. It's like there's this big hill you go on and you can see the whole city laid out there. Really cool. I like that a lot. So yeah, that one would be the one I would live in because a lot of the Southwest, man, it's just like harsh desert environment, and more props to you if you can live in that type of environment. But it's so weird how just when the further east you go, or it's not even so much further east you go, it's wherever you go that there is water, the trees will go up in height proportionally, and the amount of greenery you see goes up proportionally. I've always known that fundamentally, but I've never experienced that, or I've known it intuitively. Yeah, I've known it intuitively, but I've never actually experienced that where you go from one place to another and you see how the water actually affects like the environment, and just the fact that there is greenery and it was weird, man. When we were driving through Texas, the whole western part of Texas was just like a wasteland, man. And there was literally like a 2-hour stretch where we were in a cloud of sand or dirt. I don't know what it was. It was like a sandstorm. It was like Mad Max. It was like a Nintendo 64 game where you can't see very far because they had the fog so that you didn't have pop-in and stuff. It was incredible. Yeah. Anyway, so our East Valley Yosemite episode was meant to be Vernal Falls, but the crowds were too much. Yeah, Vernal Falls was so crowded. Once we got past the falls, you guys can see that in the episode. It was great. There's nobody out there. But oh, this is some news. That trail is part of the JMT, the John Muir Trail. I saw a video by a dude. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Who hiked the entire. I hiked the entire Pacific Crest Trail. Is this the right one? Yes, it is. Okay. He's only got 4 videos, but they're very nice videos. Well, I've only seen one of them. But check this one out. I saw that video and I was like, wait a minute. He was doing 30 miles a day by the end of it. He had some troubles getting into it at the start, but I mean, I don't think I'd have those troubles because I've been hiking many, many times. And I'm also pretty in shape, so I don't think I would have those initial troubles of just getting into shape. The JMT, John Muir Trail, is a portion of the PCT, and it's only 290 miles, I think. If you're doing 30 miles a day, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like 10 days. And even if you did 20 miles a day, you could do it in like 2 weeks. I'm interested in doing the JMT. I've said many times before I'd never be interested in doing one of those long hikes. I didn't realize how short the JMT actually was, like relatively short. And especially if I'm not filming for an episode where we can only do like 4 miles a day, I could easily do like 15 miles a day. Yeah, I could easily do 15 miles a day, and then I'm sure I could get it up to 20 plus a day. Especially if all you're doing is hiking and then get some like lighter equipment, get a lighter backpack. It would be great. But yeah, that's why Vernal Falls is part of the JMT, I believe. Hello, everyone who I have not said hello to yet. Did you throw a pizza on the roof in Albuquerque? No, but I heard that the woman who lives at that house, she had to put like a gate around her house because people kept doing it. Which, You know, if I were her, I'd be like, yo, you can totally throw a pizza on my roof. If you come get it, A, and B, you give me a pizza. If you don't do if you don't do both of those things, then I'm calling the cops. Did you spend any time in Houston? I've been living there for 10 years, although I'm moving to San Diego in 2 weeks. We spent a single night in Houston, and it was basically just to see Tim V, the Texan camper. You guys have, I'm sure, seen him in the comments at some point. He's one of the Adventure Archive super fan. I mean, you know, here's the thing. We have not met a single person who watches Adventure Archives who is not like an amazing person. Like just super fun to hang out with, super interesting, has like interesting stories and stuff, is funny, all this stuff. So if you guys ever want to meet, I'm down for meeting because you guys have proven yourselves to be amazing people. But Tim V was awesome. We played Cards Against Humanity with him. Just it was basically a stop through. We were heading to Louisiana, but we were coming from Austin, so we had to make some distance. So before we went to our hotel that night, we went to his house, hung out for like 2 hours. It was great. Would you go on another road trip in the future? If so, what would you do differently? I would absolutely go on another road trip in the future. The thing I would do differently, well, the problem that I feel like we had is that we started out with a plane ride, so we needed to have, well, just I would want the cars to be better packed. That's about it for me. Well, what else? That's like the first thing that comes to mind is I want the cars to be better packed and more organized and not have to like climb over lots of stuff to get at your stuff. And also just have somehow I made a mistake of I have so few clothes that I brought most of my clothes. I didn't need most of my clothes. Like even as few clothes as I have, I still had too many. So I had this big bag just filled with clothes and it was hard to find my stuff. It was always falling out and that was annoying. So the organization thing is the one thing I would change. The other thing is I wish we had had more time because I had the hard deadline of I had to be back by the 19th because I had a job on the 20th. Was it the 20th? It was Saturday, whatever that was. And I did the job time. It was like I came back home and then I literally spent 12 hours in the airport on Friday getting to where I was going, stayed the night, did the job real quick, and then did another 12 hours in the airport. In fact, it was longer than that. No, it wasn't that long. It was probably more like 6 or 7 hours. But my flight got delayed too, so I didn't get back till like super late Sunday morning, like 12:30 or 1 or something like that. But anyways, I had a hard deadline, and so we had to get back by a certain time, and we were seeing so many different things that it was very much what I said it was going to be, which is that it flew by. Like I don't think the other guys maybe they didn't have that experience as much as I did, but every single day I didn't feel like there was any downtime except for driving. And driving is so boring and painful for me that it wasn't good downtime. What was that? Did you guys see that just now? Oh, maybe I'm imagining things. Or maybe it was like some dust or something. It was so, I hate driving so much. And like, I don't like just sitting there. Maybe that's not a shocker to you guys, but I can't sit there and do nothing very well. And I don't like playing video games in the car. In fact, I brought my Switch and my Vita. I didn't touch either one of them. I played it once when we were at a friend's house and we played Mario Kart, but that was it. I can't do it. I need like some other type of entertainment. And it was great when I was like in the car with Thomas because talk with Thomas will talk for hours. Ryan and Andrew, they won't talk. They're just like so like not small talky sometimes. So like I can't just like bullshit with them. Oh, sorry guys. Every now and then. And they like playing on their Switch. So they're playing on the Switch and I was just driving bored out of my mind. Anyways, so yeah, more time so that we could have a sense of actually being like kind of lost in travel. Does that make sense? The only moment that I had that feeling was when we were in Monument Valley and it was nighttime and it was like the sun was setting and you had these awesome mesas in the distance and we were just like in the middle of this red sand field and there was a canvas tent that we were staying in. That was the only moment that I really felt like I was like, oh yeah, we're out here doing this. But we were doing so many things and driving such a long distance that I didn't feel like I didn't have any time to like even get bored. It was just over before, like right after it started. So I think, yeah, long story short, I would find a better organization system for the car, and I would extend the trip a little bit or we would just cover less distance. I don't know. Yeah, I think I've answered that long enough. Okay, anyway. Maybe I would advise not to hike Mount Fuji, but maybe in the vicinity of Mount Fuji because Fuji-san is really pretty. Yeah, that's what my friends told me to do too. That's why we did Kumatori. Ooh, trail aesthetics. So trail aesthetics is Tim V, the Texan camper. Welcome. We just talked about you like 2 seconds ago. What's next for Aid? No, answer that in a second. I think my mother just got home. Mother! I'm doing a live stream. If you want to pop in for a second. I heard my mother. Checking your hair.
Yeah, it was.
That's the camera right there.
Okay, thank you.
If you guys have any questions for my mother, I'm just going to continue to answer questions. So, did Mom clean up all the beer cans and pizza boxes? So we didn't have any in the car, but although we did accumulate lots of beers because people kept, either we would buy some for a campsite, and it started out when we did the meetup. Amon gave us a 4-pack of beers, and we wanted to refrigerate them first, so we didn't drink them. So we had those in the car, and then we were at a campsite. We bought another pack of beers, so we wanted cold ones, but we didn't finish all of them. So by the end of it, we had like 8 beers. I think Andrew took those home though. Oh, and Tim V says, "Glad you liked the picture."
Oh, it's awesome. And did you tell him we're moving?
Oh no, I haven't told anybody that yet. No.
Oh, we're moving
Yeah.
to a different house, and the living room wall is perfect for that picture. So I can't wait. And I even got curtains that go with it.
Oh, good. So we're moving down the street. And
Same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood. It's like the exact same layout of the house. It's smaller. This time we're actually going to own the house. And the intention is that you can use it as your house. And then if I need to go somewhere, if I want to start living somewhere else, it'll be very easy to do that because it'll be less expensive. So you don't have to rely on my portion of the rent.
That's right.
And I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, it's really cool. So needs a little work. It's definitely a fixer-upper, but we can handle that.
Yes. Okay. Anyways, we'll just have you answer questions while you're here. Did you enjoy being in the house by yourself while Robby was away?
Yes, I did. I don't know why it is. It's just there's after a while, and I think I felt like this even when I was growing up or when you guys were little. Just sometime having the house by yourself for an extended period feels really good. It's not like I wanted to. Maybe that's the pizza boxes and beers they were talking about. Was did I clean it up in the house before you got back?
Yeah, that is probably what he's talking about.
What they meant. I didn't do anything like that. In fact, I just started packing and was working on getting the house stuff settled. But it was nice. But it's also really quiet.
Yeah. So
not having you here, and there's like last night when you were doing some editing, or maybe it's yesterday afternoon. I don't know. Anyway,
that's
right. I heard. This is so good. Something like, yes, that's what I needed. I needed a little enthusiasm in the house that didn't come just for me. Yeah. So I was glad when they got back. It was fun seeing Thomas. I haven't seen Thomas in years. Have I met Thomas before?
I don't know.
Come to think of it.
Every time I take them anywhere, I always ask to whoever we're meeting, I'm like, have you guys met them before? And sometimes the answer is like, yes, of course I've met them. And the other times the answer is, no, but I feel like I have because I've seen him so many times.
Yeah, now that I think I've seen him before. I think I've met him before. I think he's been here.
Yosemite.
Yeah, probably.
No, because we met at the.
How about Japan? No, I don't know. So maybe it was fun meeting him, and I didn't realize I hadn't met him already.
That's possible.
But it was fun. It was good for you to be back. Yeah. What else you got?
I really like the idea of an Adventure Archives mom episode. Can we get that set up for a Mother's Day special? It would be interesting to watch. When is Mother's Day?
Second Sunday in May.
No.
Not this year.
Because we would have to film it, and to get it out by Mother's Day would be
impossible.
Yeah.
But we could do a Mother's Day trip and then post it sometime
later.
That's
true, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be down for that.
I'd be down for that. Cool.
Okay, then yeah, maybe.
Or sometime soon.
I'd do a day hike, is what he said. Okay. Okay, so I'm just getting back to answering these other questions.
All right.
The one was, what's next for AA now that the crew's back in town? So the first thing, like as far as new stuff we're gonna do is we're gonna have a meetup in Columbus. We were gonna have one in Indianapolis right after the road trip, but then we realized that was a terrible idea.
It was a terrible idea.
It was like we were all done with the road trip at that point. We're all tired, want to go home.
It's like with each other.
Yeah, that's like the worst time to go meet people. It's like when you go meet people, especially if it's somebody you see online, you want them to actually be happy to see you.
You want them to be sort of like they are when they're online.
Yeah, so that was a bad idea, so we canceled that one. But the Columbus meetup will be happening for sure before the end of May. It might even happen like in the next week or two. But beyond that, we've got a huge backlog of like 8 videos now because we've got one video in the pipeline that's ready to be released tonight if Thomas will do his narration. And I sent him a message this morning. I said, Thomas, this is the ghost of Christmas narration. Do your narration. And he said he'll do it tonight. But if he does it tonight, then we'll release it tonight.
What's that one from?
Vasquez Rocks. That's the
that's the Sharpie.
The sharp
ones.
rocks, yeah. It's edited though, and after narration we'll just do some tweaking. But anyway, then a huge backlog of videos that Andrew and Thomas did by themselves, and then the whole road trip, obviously. And an episode of Adventure Archives that we filmed beforehand that is in the process of being edited. Okay. See any cool critters on the byways? We saw dead armadillos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the only thing I can think of. Like in Texas, there was a lot of dead armadillos on the side of the road. They try to cross, I guess, and they get hit. It's pretty sad.
So their armor's not enough to protect them.
No, unfortunately. As far as critters, we saw deer, like a huge pack of deer in Zion, and they were like playing with each other and running. It was pretty cool. I got some good footage of that. Alligators. We saw alligators in New Orleans when we were canoeing. There's 2 big ones.
While you were canoeing, you were in the same water with them?
Yeah, no, they told us. There's like, okay, so there's Big Joe. He's missing an eye. You'll probably see him at this point. And then there's another one. He's a little smaller. And we used to have another one, but he ran away, I think, because Big Joe beat him up. But they were just lying there. They were just like resting, keeping their body temperature in equilibrium, I guess. Okay. Any overseas travel coming up? No. Right now I'm in like 100% money saving mode. Like I've been like a monk not buying things. It's like incredible. I've never done this in my life where I haven't bought anything. That Apple charger I bought yesterday was the closest I've gotten. I had a gift card, so I bought it with the gift card. But like, so I paid like $3 for it. But the outside of that, I haven't bought any games. Haven't bought any. This is not entirely true.
I was just getting ready to mention a couple of things I know of.
Like what?
Like that album that came while you were gone?
That's an exception. That's an exception.
So there's a charger in the album.
No, we'll see. Okay, but fundamentally, this is like
in other words, you still haven't done it.
I still haven't done it. No. I did do it for like 2 weeks, but the album, which I still haven't showed.
That's a really cool album. Yeah, I was excited because when he got it in the mail, I sent a picture and he said, "Go ahead and open it up." And I was very excited to be able to open it up for him. It was very cool.
This is a not very small, but a small band in the UK or England or something. And this is their first album. And I've been listening to their music. They just used to have videos on YouTube on the Candy Rat Records page. Found out about them from that. I was like, dude, I love this music. They finally released an album. This is like a limited edition, 4,000 or something. And my plan at the time was actually when they released an album, I would buy 10 copies and do a giveaway just to help promote them. But it coincided with my money saving period. So I was like, okay, well, I'll spend $60 to get a vinyl and a CD. And I don't even have. You
guys just have to fend for yourselves.
I don't even have a vinyl player, so I can't even listen to this. But I'm not buying the vinyl player because I'm trying to save the money. Anyway, that's why I made the exception for this. But yeah, I've been barely buying anything. That's still true.
That's still true.
I don't know if it's been like a whole 2 months, but doing a really good job. And a big reason why is I'm not making money right now.
You need some work.
Well, I don't want to work is my thing. So I was like, I could either get more work, and I'm not very good at finding work in the first place. So why make myself have to struggle with that when I could just take a different route and just stop spending money, it's been going pretty well so far. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Columbus, Andrew and Brian and Thomas, they all live in Columbus now because Thomas just moved back to Columbus. So we will definitely be doing a meetup. And it's like 99% going to be in High Banks Park. So if you know where High Banks Park is, that's where it's going to be. Andrew and Brian said on the Patreon live stream that their mom might not be interested in a mom episode because she's not too outdoorsy. Yeah, I could totally see that.
I could too.
So we might just do a mom episode with my mom.
But I'll still cook for you.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Maybe day hike or glamping. But yeah, we could do the day hike or glamping with their mom. I'm sure we can get her to a park at the very least.
Yeah, if we did something over in Columbus,
Yeah,
she'd do
yeah,
it.
no problem.
Or maybe Hollyhocking or whatever that.
Hocking Hills, yeah.
Hocking Hills.
Way back, you mentioned a screening of an A episode. Do you think that's still on the table? That is still on the table. It's just something we would actually have to take the time to organize. And you know, it's such a funny thing because I would love to do all these cool things, but I always feel like it's a better use of my time to make new creations than to do ancillary stuff like that. And it's like a balance, right? I don't want to not do the fun meetup stuff at all or the fun creative ideas at all, but they take so much like mental energy, or maybe they don't, and maybe I'm just building it up too much, but that's always been the reason why I haven't
Maybe now that Thomas is back and he's really good at organizing.
That's true.
Maybe he can take the
lead he spearheads all that stuff. Yeah, that could definitely make it a lot easier. Which actually he said that's what he wants to do. Is he wants to make it just so that we can not have to think about all that stuff and just focus on the creative aspect, which I think is match made in heaven.
Okay. Well, I love you all. I love you too, but I'm leaving.
Okay. I'll see you later. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back. Oh, greetings, Alex and Mike. Yes. Okay, I think I got all the questions. Let me know if I missed any questions, but I think I got all of them. Yeah, it's good to be back on the vlog. It's good to be back streaming. Twitch streaming, by the way, for Alex. That will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I think that's all I had to say about that, actually. But it's been really nice to get back home. And it's funny, though, because right after the end of the road trip, it was kind of good that I had that job to go on because I had this feeling of like, man, now what do I do? Because doing a road trip where you're seeing something new every single day and it's just constant newness and excitement, when you come back to your regular life, you're almost like, this is it? Like, I need to like, the other thing though, is that is kind of like expanded my feelings on what is possible to achieve, and not so much achieve, but what is possible to go out and experience every single day. Like now I'm like, dude, there's no reason I can't do like an overnighter, like every 2 weeks, like a solo overnighter, just go someplace really cool, go hike over there, make a cool video, and then come back home. And just like, it's funny because last year, at the beginning of the year, I had such a strong urge to travel and go see everything. And then after the China trip, I was so burned out on it. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this ever again. And it took until this time of year, like April or March, where I started having that feeling where I wanted to travel and explore and do all this stuff again. And I think everything's coming back to pointing to I need to find a balance between, I've talked about this on the blog, I think, but finding a balance between going out and exploring and then being at home and having like this good balance of a routine, but also breaking your routine and working and also not working, instead of just going super, super hard and then doing nothing. And then going super hard and doing nothing. Like this, that's not a very pleasant way to live and to work. And it's also not very conducive to actually keeping it going. Like it's not sustainable at all. So finding that balance is something that I've been very much looking forward to. And actually, it's been going pretty well just as far as like scheduling my work. This road trip is obviously an exception because Thomas was moving back, but get back to work, Tim. I'll see you later. Did you answer a question about Andrew? What was the question about Andrew? Does Andrew still live out there in Columbus? Yeah, Andrew, Brian, and Thomas all live in Columbus now. Thomas was moving back to Columbus. That's why we did the road trip. So he drove his car, and that's to answer the Smet Logic question. He was driving his car. We rented just like a little SUV, just like the one Brian and Andrew already have. And we drove those two cars all the way back. So we had two people in each car. And it was fine. If Thomas didn't have all of his stuff in his car from his apartment, we probably would have just had one car. In fact, we definitely would. We just rented like a SUV or something and packed lighter. Or maybe not, I don't know. Oh, did you finish that Chipotle car deal where you get about $240 worth of food at the end? Yes, I did. And I actually used that $250 catering for the last day at the studio. So the Zumba studio, for those of you who don't know, my mom and I, we ran a Zumba studio. She runs it now. But when we were moving out from the last big studio that we were at, we did a like going away party or whatever, and I ordered the Chipotle for that. So for the screening, we'll have to think of something else. We were also thinking of doing like at High Banks when we do the meetup to do food and stuff. But if you actually want to like reserve one of the little cookout part things, it's really expensive. So we might skip the food and might just go to dinner afterwards. There's a great Indian buffet place right next to High Banks. I think that'd be really fun to time it so that their buffet is still going on. We could go there and just like raid the place, and that'd be really cool, I think. Any trips planned for North Carolina, Pisgah National Forest? Hope I'm saying that right. This summer. What Brian says. Ironically, my friend Nicole wants to go out to Pisgah with me soon, but I don't think it'd be something we'd record until we get everyone to go. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Let me Google what it looks like. So we don't have any plans for anything. It's all just kind of to get. Oh, man, that looks really cool. As far as Adventure Archives, where we're going next, we're probably gonna. I feel like we got to do that voting episode we did, which I don't remember what the options were and what won. It was like Cumberland Gap or something. I think that was the one that won. But I feel like we need to do that one soon because people voted on it. They obviously want to see it. As far as me, what I want to do next, I really want to go back to Dolly Sods. In fact, I'd be down just going with everybody, especially since Thomas hasn't seen it yet. But going back to Dolly Sods and exploring the other trails we haven't done, and also doing maybe like my first solo overnighter. But I might stick to somewhere closer just so I don't have to drive so much for my first solo, but we'll see. Was it a costly trip? No, it wasn't particularly costly. The rental car was $730, all said and done. Yeah, I think that's what it was, $730. So that was the most expensive portion of it, but that was for almost 2 weeks. So I feel like that's not too bad. I could be completely off base though. The other thing is, had we not spent so much money on food, like sometimes we'd spend like $100 on one meal for like $25 a person. It's not terrible, but that's a lot, man. And like Vegas, like the buffet was like $28 a person. That was really expensive. Well, that puts it in perspective. Yeah. So $25 a person is really expensive. But beyond that, if you eat, like if we had like went to grocery stores and like made some like sandwiches and stuff, or had we eaten cheap fast food, it could have been way cheaper. So no, if you ever want to do your own road trip, I don't think it would cost too much. And the gas wasn't too expensive either. I thought the gas would be more expensive. We probably only spent $150 on gas. Thomas paid for his car because he was moving his stuff back, but it wasn't too bad, I don't think. I really enjoyed your guitar playing in the live stream from the other week. Everyone should be so lucky to have you serenade them with a guitar in the bathroom. Yeah, Brian's guitaring is really good. If you guys missed it earlier in the vlog, I was talking about when we were in New Mexico. We went to a guitar shop, and there was like this super nice guitar. Like I don't even play guitar, and I could tell how nice it sounded. Brian was playing on that. It's amazing. In fact, while we were in Evansville, I started playing, I think, on Brian's guitar. He bought one at that shop. It wasn't the $1,000 one. It was like $80 or something. A really nice one. But I started playing Cosmo Canyon from Final Fantasy VII on that. I would really like to learn guitar. I've said that for years now. No, I haven't really said it for years, but I've always had it somewhere in the back of my mind. It's like, I want to learn guitar eventually because it's such a great pick up and play instrument. But I've never taken the time to actually do it. I've flirted with the idea, and I've actually gotten like a little guitar book before, but never gave it enough effort. But lately I've been like, I think I could do it. You going to vlog that solo backpacking or mini AA episode? So if I did a solo trip, it's going to be an Adventure Archives video. So just be like a Thomas video, essentially. I would just take a camera out and do that. The other thing about that road trip, I was kind of mentioning this earlier, is how it's changed what my perception on what is achievable and what's not. In that I really do think we can do one video a week. Like, and not like one video, like one week it's a podcast, or 1 week it's just like a channel update, just something boring. I really feel like we can make a creative, good video that people will want to watch once a week. It just takes the effort of actually doing it. I mean, I make a video pretty much every single day for the vlog, but those are easy to do because I'm always at home. Or no, I film just whatever I'm doing. So it's like there's no travel time involved. But just doing that road trip and seeing how much you can jam pack into every day, just doing that once a week, just doing like a mini road trip once a week or once every 2 weeks, because it wouldn't have to be all of us doing it every single week, especially if we did solos and stuff. I just feel like it's so much more possible and so much more easy than we're making it out to be. And I have a renewed drive to make that happen, if that makes sense. Oh, I was telling Brian and Andrew on the live stream that the other guys could learn ukulele to play along with the guitar. It's easier and cheaper. That is not a bad idea. Well, I was thinking too, I was like, man, I could easily learn to play chords, right? So I could be the backup for Brian. I could just do rhythm guitar and he could play like the melody and stuff. We could do some awesome stuff like that. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that. Have you, Andrew and Brian and Thomas, ever thought about sharing a house? We've thought about it in the sense that we've mentioned it, but none of us have ever like thought about the actual logistics of it. And honestly, I don't think it would work too well. Us living together, we all have very different styles of living. I don't think that would be the best idea, especially if we were working in that same house. But if we can ever get to the point where we can have a shared office, oh my God, that'd be so great. Like if we could have like a Casey Neistat style studio that we do our work in, in fact, that is something that it's hard to justify because you're like, man, I don't want to spend money on that where we could just as easily work on our houses. But there's something about having a separate work area that's like dedicated to work that produces better, you get better results from working in an environment like that because it puts you in the right frame of mind. And it's also like, when I'm here, I'm working. Or when I'm here, I'm having creative ideas and stuff like that. There's no kitchen for one thing. So I would never put a kitchen in the office because food is such a huge distraction. And the fact that we usually work in an area where that's why this office has been so nice for me too, is because it's away from the kitchen, out of my sight. When we work at Brian and Andrew's house, their kitchen is literally attached right to where we are working. And the pole is constantly there to be like, let me go see what's in the fridge. So I don't think I finished that thought just now, but you guys get what I'm talking about. Yeah, 368.5, exactly. I would love to have a 368. Thank you, Kay. Do you watch other outdoor YouTubers like Outdoor Adventures or Joe Robinette? Check out Org Normac. I actually don't watch any other YouTube outdoorsmen. The closest is Scrambled O, but I don't even watch all of his videos. I watch the ones that I'm interested in. Let me see. Is there anybody who I subscribe to that I actually watch religiously? No, and it's kind of weird because it almost feels like I should. Like it feels maybe intuitively it seems to me to be kind of weird that I don't, but maybe it's not weird because I don't watch the videos I watch. Well, no, that's not true because I watch Casey Neistat vlogs and I make those type of vlogs too. Yeah, it's honestly, I just haven't found any that really catch my attention. Like, I mean, if you look at our outdoor videos, they're quite different from the style that most people do. So that's the style that I'm more interested in. And not that many people make videos like that. So I generally don't check them out. And plus, like, for me, those style of video or outdoor videos, well, no, that's not true either because I like watching my videos. I was gonna say I prefer like hiking as opposed to actually just watching other people hike, but I like watching my videos. Yeah, I don't have a good explanation. But the long story short, I don't watch other outdoor YouTubers. And I don't really have a good reason for it, other than it just doesn't seem to interest me. Do you like ambient music? By the way, what kind of music do you personally like? Well, I'm not too sure what you mean by ambient music. But if you mean like kind of more relaxed, chilled music, I can get into that, but that's not usually the kind I usually gravitate towards. My two favorite bands are The Reign of Kendo, which they actually just renamed themselves to just Kendo. And the other one is the Lydian Collective, which you can see right here. But I've also recently been super into a song by The Weeknd, and it was featuring Daft Punk. I like Daft Punk a lot. The Weeknd, what is the song called? Feel it. I don't know, I like lots of different types of music, but the type of music I gravitate towards is usually like really melodic Japanese video game composer style music. Like if you listen to this stuff, this dude right here, he has a solo act, and two of the songs on there are called Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. And Final Fantasy music usually when people ask me what type of music I like, I say Super Nintendo music. That's the easiest way to sum it all up, but just that very melodic video game music, the type of stuff you kind of hear on Adventure Archives, right? It's that type of stuff. Is that indie music? I guess it's indie music. I don't know if they're on a record label. I don't know. I don't listen to the radio. The only time I listen to pop music that's really popular is when I teach Zumba classes, because those are all dance songs, right? But I don't usually listen to those just for fun. But if you want to know what type of those songs, this one is I've been obsessed with. Been using this for weeks now. Touch. I love this song. That is a great song. What else have I been doing? Wait, what is this? I got to see this video. Hold on a second. Oh, this is a line dance. Oh, I love this dude's enthusiasm. Okay, hold on. Now I gotta link the video at least so you guys can know what the heck I'm looking at. You're doing a line dance to it. I came up with my own choreography for that one actually, and it's actually pretty decent. Sometimes I can make really good choreographies for the songs that I do in class. Other times I need to find choreographies that somebody did online, and it's always a struggle to find good ones on there because most of them are not very good. But sometimes you can pick pieces. I think that's how I came up with the choreography for this song actually, is I picked pieces from different ones that I found online. Okay, so we got 9 minutes left. The vlogs will continue. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be the continuation of Big Sur, which actually is just us hiking out and driving away, because after that rain, man, you'll see in tomorrow's vlog, but the rain just like destroyed us. It literally, I've never seen this happen before, but there was so much moisture that the inside of the tent was soaked. Like I think the cloud moved through and it just like dropped moisture all in it. There was puddles inside the tent. and the whole tent was just soaked. It was both tents. It wasn't even like there was a malfunction in one of the tents. They just both got super soaked. This is what I'll be watching tonight. So my friend and I, we always go to, what's it called, Flicks Brew House, and they have $4 movies. They had Spaceballs, but she forgot to buy the tickets for them. So I was like, well, I'll just get it from the library. We can check it out. And this one we missed at the theater, and I can't remember what happened. Was I sick or gone? I think I was gone or something. But anyways, we're going to decide which one to watch tonight. But that's on the docket. What do you think of Bollywood movies and the dancing they have in them? I've never actually seen a Bollywood movie, but I love the Bollywood dance numbers. Did I tell you guys about the fact that this dude, Ranveer Singh, he lived next door to me in freshman year of college. And he always played his music too loud late at night. And I was really not happy with him when he would do that. And he wouldn't stop doing it. But apparently, he is now a Bollywood star. And he is the main character in that movie. I don't think he sings, though. But is definitely the same guy. Because I thought he looked familiar. And then one of my viewers, Daryl, he saw, I was talking about it in the vlog. And somehow he looked it up on Wikipedia. And then, yeah, okay, I told this story already. Crap. But yeah, that guy. But the movies themselves, I've never actually watched one. From what I've seen, the parodies that they do on Conan O'Brien, they're just all about like romance. So it's like two people falling in love, like against all odds or something, and then they break into song and dance. I don't know if that would be the most entertaining movie, but I'm sure it'd be fun to watch just for that. You know, I'm not even saying words that make sense, but I don't really have much thought on it. Until I actually see one. I don't have a particular desire to see one. Where do you see yourself as far as work in, say, 10 years? You know, I've thought about that before. Because I was like, what happens when I can no longer... I was saying, like, you know Anthony Bourdain, how he's like, I mean, he's probably like in his 50s, right? 50s or 60s. Kind of feels like that there's a sense... I've always gotten the sense in society that once you hit a certain age, you're supposed to be like retiring and not supposed to keep doing things. And it's like, oh, you're old now, you're irrelevant. And I don't really subscribe to that thought process. So like when I'm that age, like I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. I could do like public speaking for like kids or something, like motivational speeches for kids. Especially like I've thought about this many times doing that, is doing motivational speeches for like teenage boys and teaching them how to like get out of their shell and not to be just useless teenagers. I thought that would be some way I could contribute, especially that would have been great had somebody done that for me when I was a teenager. But as far as like 10 years from now, how old would it be 43 years old? I don't know. At 43, I'd probably still be down for just doing videos all the time. Did you guys see that? There's some dust or something, right? I'd still be down for doing videos and doing adventure archives. That's only 10 years from now, right? Yeah. How long has Les Stroud been at it? He's been at it for like 10 years, right? Probably longer. Yeah, just off the top of my head, that's what I would still like to be doing. If I could expand that into like, I don't know, making video games or something, that might be fun too. Kimi no Nawa. It was beautiful. You should check it out if you haven't already. My friend, I own very few movies on physical, but this is one that I had to get. I watched this on the plane back from Japan in 2016, was it now? Yeah, 2016. The Kumatori trip. I watched it on the plane back. I was literally watching it on the plane, started crying. Like, oh no, man, it's cool. It's cool. Like this. Just like, it's so ridiculous that you're watching a movie on the plane on this terrible little tiny screen. It was an incredible movie, man. Like, if you haven't seen this and you aren't affected by this movie, then you may not be human. Like, you may be a robot and somebody just plugged in some software in you to make you think you're a human, which I know that sounds really bad, especially if you watch it and you don't cry or something. But man, it is Incredible movie. I'm totally with you, Max. I liked Bride and Prejudice. Is that the real name of it? Oh my god, that's too funny. James Blackburn, we were talking about you earlier on the stream, and I was telling them that New Mexico was my favorite city experience on the entire trip. Somebody asked me what my favorite city was and what city would I live in. And I answered New Mexico was like the coolest city experience we had. Like when we went around old New Mexico or whatever it was. It's awesome. Yes, that's the real name, Bride and Prejudice. Funny movie. It sounds like it's funny. I love the dance scenes in Indian Bollywood movies. They're just so like sincere, and it's just so it's throwing away the oh, I gotta look cool. You know, I gotta show you guys this video, man. I'm just so annoyed by this. This is like this is the problem with the world right now. Like, watch this video. And you don't have to watch far into it. And look at the reaction of all these stuffy people sitting there in suits, just not moving. Just looking at it and just like, it's almost like they're trying not to be excited. Except for like the French president. He's like the only dude smiling. Everybody else is like, and it's like, man, don't you feel that desire inside of you when you hear some music to, just at least move a little bit? Remember my sister, when she was really little, she would come into the studio while a class was being taught. And she would do the funniest dance. Like, she can't dance because her dad doesn't dance and her mom doesn't dance. So she was never like taught how to dance. And I wasn't around enough to actually dance with her. But that desire was still in there. So she would sit there in front of the thing, just looking at him. And like one arm would be moving like this. It was the funniest thing, man. I wish I had some video of that. I've got to have some video of it somewhere. Right? Maybe not, but man, it was the cutest, funniest thing. But yeah, like this people just like stifling all of the emotion and fun out of life, and like, oh, I'm gonna go make some policies right now and enforce them, and hate it. Okay. Anyways, I think that's gonna do it for today's stream, guys. It's 2:59. How about you get any last minute questions in, and we can answer those. I'm gonna be streaming again on Thursday at 7 or 8 p.m. Probably 8 p.m. because I think it's 7. We're going to go look at the house. From now on, the Europe live stream, so the 1 p.m. live stream or 2 p.m. live stream, I did it 2 today, will be on Tuesdays. And the Thursday live stream will be the one that's at 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern time, obviously. Grave of the Dragonflies. Oh, I've only heard it as Grave of the Fireflies, but yes, that movie, man. I watched it one time and I was like, I can't watch this again. Because whereas this movie will make you cry in like a positive way, that movie will make you cry in like a, God, man, like we're all doomed. Being human just sucks. It's not a movie you can watch more than one time. I feel like I was like, once was enough. Because it just was a very depressing movie, but amazing movie. I totally agree. Like, my God, incredible. Oh, James Blackburn, I will have my video up of your visit sometime this week. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to watching that. That's going to be a fun sequence to edit for the trip as well. So we're going to have that as probably was New Mexico. That's probably going to be the end. No, Las Vegas was. Did we do New Mexico after Las Vegas? We did. Yeah, so that's going to be in the second video. It's going to be great. It's a great time. Oh, also, I didn't mention this earlier, but we went to the place where they filmed the Los Pollos Hermanos, that chicken store where Gus worked. We went to that location with James, and we had burgers there. And it was, what were they, like green red chili burgers or something? And there was an ostrich outside in the parking lot and next to it. It was a really cool experience, really fun. New Mexico was great. Okay. Any more questions, guys? I'm going to end the stream real soon here. So go ahead and get them in. Anything else to update you guys on? I might be able to get back on the 7 a.m. Release for the vlogs starting tomorrow, but maybe not. I'm going to be editing, well, not right after this, but I'm going to be editing some more today. Anything else? Yeah, it's kind of funny. I've been gone for 2 weeks, and I feel like there's a bunch to inform you guys, but honestly, most of it is just going to be, you'll see what happens in the video, so there's no point in me telling you all of that. And when I start vlogging again, the thing is I had so many great thoughts. I'm like, oh, that'd be great to vlog about. Like, oh, I'll talk about this, I'll talk about that. I didn't write any of them down. So I'm just hoping that they will come back to me. That happens to me a lot, is where I'll think of like something good to talk about or some cool idea, but then I'll forget about it by the time it happens. And I actually wrote down a bunch of vlog ideas, but then when also somehow writing them down, it loses its appeal to me. Like once I was looking at the list and I was like, oh, I'll talk about that. And I was like, well, I have no desire to talk about that now. I wanted to talk about it then, but you know how that works. Oh, right. We had the green and red chili cheese fries too. Yeah, those are great. Yeah, it was great visiting you, meeting you for the first time, James. I was saying this earlier. I don't know if you were here, but just universally, every person we've met from Adventure Archives who watches the show, universally amazing, interesting, funny, great people. So I'm always down for meeting you guys. And I'm sure we'll meet again in the future, James, specifically. And then everybody else. I feel like it's kind of inevitable that I'll meet you guys all at some point. But yeah, okay, so let's end the stream. I think everything is, everything's okay. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I will be back Thursday and vlog tomorrow. If I missed anything or questions or whatever, just let me know in comments. Comments are the best way to reach me because I see all those, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And thank you, Serena, and thank you, James. Those are the two I see on the thing right now. But I'll see you guys tomorrow once I figure out how to click in stream. There we go. All right, see you guys.